You recently did a talk with a spiritual medium.
Mm-hmm.
So do you believe in energies of an otherworldly nature, and do you work with them?
Do I believe in energies of an otherworldly nature? No is the short answer. But that is kind of dependent on my view of this. I'm going to have to keep this really short because it's quite a long explanation as to why. But essentially, I think this is all a giant mind. So, and there are various reasons I think that. Partly down to a thing called the hard problem of consciousness. I've looked into a thing called assembly theory and a philosopher called Galen Strawson. And basically, it seems to, the reality, whatever that is, seems to conform to certain rules. This is quite hard to answer, actually. But essentially, I think it's a giant mind. It acts like a mind. And so it is possible that you could have a construct within that isn't what you would consider to be traditionally physical. So consciousness without a body, for example. So spirits. I also think that our beliefs affect how it acts a lot more than we realize, like a lot more than we realize. So I'm open to the idea that collective belief has a real world effect. Because fundamentally everything you're seeing is happening inside your mind anyway. You know, again, I'm a little bit leery of going too far into this because it goes off on several tangents and it's a lot of things drawn together. I did an interview with a podcast called Vase quite a while ago, and I'll link to it at the bottom of this because that gives my most comprehensive answer to this question. But because I view this as a mind, and I don't see myself as separate from it, I'm kind of a construct within the mind, and it's a feedback system. So if I do things, it changes, which changes me, which changes it, which changes me, and it goes round and round and round, and it goes forever. That it's quite possible that you could have things within that construct that aren't what you would consider traditionally physical. Something else is people always ask, you know, right, I'm going to go off on a big tangent here. So people ask about this idea of what is real and what isn't. You have kind of the matrix idea that, like, if this was a computer simulation, it's less real. When actually, when you look into it, it's just a different kind of real. So, I don't kind of worry too much about that. This idea of whether ghosts are real or not, because an interesting question, I think it's an interesting question. If 100 people can perceive something, but there's no way of testing it, is it real? Okay, well then what if 1 million people perceive it, but there's no way of testing it? At what point does something become real? And I think I can hold that position without disregarding anything to do with physics or biology. If you come back to the idea that it's all a giant mind in the first place and acts accordingly. Yeah, there you go. And that's the short answer.